Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast, bud.
What's up, gang? Welcome back to another episode of the GRINDcast. Get ready. It's a new day, and we're going to talk about conquering anxiety. The anxiety comes from trying to control things. Typically, the anxiety comes from trying to control things that we can't control. I'm telling you, from my experience, and I've had periods of my life where I heard about people having anxiety and I thought they was just weak, and I'm like, man, that ain't a real thing. And then I've had moments of my life where I'm like, man, what is that? Oh, your breath, you can't breathe right, and oh, you got anxiety. I'm like, oh, I can't believe it happened to me. And then I've had moments of my life where I feel like, man, you realize and you learn how to conquer that stuff. And so I just want to give you some tips of how I've learned to handle certain pressures that have come my way. And, you know, I think in at least my experience, a lot of the anxiety comes from us trying to control things that are out of our control. Things that are not in our control, we got to let them go. We got to let those things go. We got to let things go that are out of our hands, that it's nothing we could do about, not what you wish that you could do, not that you want. You can't change other people. Most of the time, the only thing you could do is grow and change yourself. And so the piece in that is just check yourself on, am I trying to control a bunch of things that I have no control over? How can I get myself to let go of the things and be at peace with what I don't have control over? And I know it's easier said than done. Yeah, but you don't understand. If I don't do this, then this is going to happen to me. If I don't do this, and this isn't. I get it. Some of the things that we worry about that are out of our control are big things that can impact our life. I get it. But if it's out of your control, you're either going to let it, like, you ain't going to get better by stressing out and having anxiety and almost dying. That ain't the solution. The solution is to control what you can. 90% of stuff, I saw the statistic, somewhere, 90% of stuff that we worry about doesn't even happen. Doesn't even end up happening. Mark Twain wrote, worrying is like paying a debt that you don't even owe. I've spent most of my life worrying about things that have never happened, said Mark Twain. Picture yourself in a worst case scenario if things are out of your control, and picture yourself making it there anyway. Surviving it anyway and being at peace with it. I'll give you an example. So this one I learned from Les Brown. And those of you that don't know who Les Brown is, YouTube Les Brown, the OG, one of the OGs in motivational speaking. And he said he was going through some anxiety, going through some stress. And he said somebody had taught him this, and he said, well, you just take yourself to that place that you're fearing. If this happens to me, and go beat it, and just go picture yourself there, and picture yourself being there and owning it and overcoming it and surviving it. So then it's like, all right, if worst case scenario happens, I'm already prepared mentally. I can beat it. So, oh man, what if I lose this? What if I lose everything? I got to move out of here and into an apartment, whatever. Okay. Just picture you, and I'm not saying speak negativity into existence. I'm not saying don't have faith in the Lord and speak positivity and all the things over your life that you should speak. I'm just saying, in addition to those things, little bit of preparation mentally of like, yep, I'm going to go there. I'm going to plan. I'm going to just mentally picture, all right, I'm there. I'm in an apartment. I don't live in the same house. I don't drive the same cars. I got to rebuild from scratch, but I'm happy here. I got my health here. I got my family here. I got a Hyundai here instead of a Escalade here, but I'm okay with that. I'm good here. I didn't die. And I start there, and then I build it up, and then we're back. And so put yourself in that spot and mentally just be like, all right, if this happened, I'm good. If I got to take the bus, I'm good. if I got to do whatever, like just be grateful, because it could always be worse. And then you get to that place of like, all right, I'm going to fight like hell to not let this happen. But if this happens, I'm already knowing that I already know that I could survive. I already mentally know I went there and I'm okay. And the next piece of it is trusting God. Lean in more and more and more into the peace that only the grace of God and strength of God can provide. Man, some of my friends, and I love them dearly, that don't have the belief, in God, that they're just still not there in their faith, know that, I love you guys. Some of them are way easier to deal with and better to deal with than some of my Christian friends. Just because you're a Christian, don't think that makes you perfect. I certainly ain't. Some of the Christians are the worst ones, right? So I'm just saying, I feel bad because some of those, I wish that they had some of the peace that I've been able to gain in hard times that only can come from the understanding of the grace of God. And so I want to encourage you there to just walk a little closer. This is on the topic of, man, the stress, the anxiety. Walk a little bit closer in your faith in relationship with God. And see if you can't get closer and watch the peace that will come over you in time that will outkick anything that you could have been able to produce on your own. I have a place in my phone that I put down the most powerful scripture. That's the title. It says powerful scripture, and it has things that inspire me, just little pieces of it that inspire me. And through some of my hardest times, I would read them to myself early in the morning over and over again, and speak them to myself over and over and over again. Speaking of which, I can give you, when it comes to controlling things that you can't control, there's a thing called the serenity prayer. Lord, give me the serenity to accept what I can't change, the courage to change what I can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. Know the difference, but between what you can and cannot change. The things you need to change, let's go ahead and change them. But the things you cannot change, have the wisdom to know the difference and let those things, people, places, things go, okay? And then you got to have this deep trust, which probably is linked to that faith that I'm talking about, but that trust that as a survivor, what won't kill you only makes you stronger and prepares you for the next level. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. And so sometimes, just like as a parent, it's like, man, if you're trying to prepare your child, you might have to be hard on them a little bit. Let them go through some hard things to prepare them for, like, man, this is what I'm really trying to prepare you for. Life will do that to us in preparation for the next level. If you don't quit and you don't give up, then you get to watch those things come to fruition. But sometimes these hard things, all those things, what doesn't kill you, it only makes you stronger. And the more things that you overcome, the bigger and better and stronger that you get, and the bigger ability that you have to lead bigger things, bigger people, and make a bigger difference and a bigger impact. Think back on times where you were stressed and you were anxious about something, and now years later you remember that chunk of time as mostly, man, I'm grateful that this happened because it made me this person, or I'm grateful that happened because it made me better over here. Even the worst things that you've gone through and the fact that you already made it through those things shows you what you can accomplish. One of my tricks is listening to YouTube motivation daily. Daily. You all know I bring this up all the time. I don't know, was it Zig Ziglar that said that sometimes people told him that, hey, motivation doesn't last? And he says, yeah, that's why we recommend it daily, like brushing your teeth. And so if you go to YouTube and plug in motivation, you could find motivational speakers, things that are inspirational, motivational, and different things are going to impact different people. And so you'll find what gets through to you the most. And man, I would get addicted to that. And I would recommend it daily. The worse your life is, the harder it is right now, the more you need to be plugged in and building yourself up. And I think it's an easy way is to listen to that motivation daily. If you don't have the energy and the discipline to just do that for yourself and you're down, you can't expect things to get better because it's not going to be nobody's coming to save you. This ain't a Mother Goose tale. Like, you got to save yourself. And you saving yourself is going to build you up to be the person that you need to be for the next calling in your life. And so open up the YouTube, use your finger and plug in the words and open up your ears and put that in and take the time out to build yourself up so you can get through what you need to get through. You just got to become bigger. Another tip for me is doing breath work daily. In the moment, you could do box breathing. You could research that, look it up, box breathing. That's like for like in the moment during the day. But I like to kick off most of my days with the Wim Hof, W-I-M-H-O-F, Wim Hof breathing method. But the breath work daily can kind of get you, it helps your cortisol levels, to my knowledge. And cortisol levels are, you could research that also, but it's basically tied to your stress, could mess up your cortisol levels, which jacks up your health. And so the breath work, daily helps. Workout, exercise helps with that anxiety, that stress. And hey, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot you can't be on the GRINDcast and be open to excuses. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't got time. Like, nope, I ain't never walked down the steps. It's like, oh man, thank you. I found 2 hours of time here at the end of the steps. Like, we all got 24 hours of the day. You ain't going to find any time. So stop looking for it. You got to put it in your schedule and you got to prioritize it. People will tell you 90% of the time when I travel, no matter where I'm at, no matter what the time zone is, no matter what's going on, even if they don't have a gym, I will do something to work out. So you can't tell me I can't get to the gym, I can't afford the gym, whatever that. Save that for somebody else, because that is an excuse that I cannot buy. You could take a walk, you could do burpees, you could do push-ups, you could do sit-ups, you could do squats on air. There's so many things that you could do, planks. You could do so many things on YouTube. You could look at workouts with no weights, at home, whatever. There's so many things that you could do, but you can't win with excuses. And so, man, I think one of the biggest things you could do for your stress and anxiety is you got to work out. Also, eating healthy, like if you research that impacts your stress levels. I've noticed when I eat like sugar before bed, like let's say I'm like, oh, I'm going to take the kids out, I'm going to have some ice cream with you. And then I go to bed like an hour later. Those are the nights where my dreams are off and my sleep is off. I might have a crazy dream or something like that. Like the diet and the nutrition does impact your mental. We've went over in previous podcasts, with the anxiety, the stress, gratitude. Be grateful for all that you do have. Not while you're going through some crap right now, while you're going through some hard times right now, be grateful for the things and the people and the health and the thing. What do you have in your life? Not what don't you have, not what sucks right now. What things do you have that you could count those blessings right now? Because they say gratitude is the antidote of depression. It's hard to be grateful and sad and depressed at the same time. And so just try your best to be in a grateful place. And then one of my motivators when I've gone through hard times, and you probably heard me say this before if you're a regular, is look at other people that have it worse or people who have had it worse and remind yourself you're just as strong or stronger than they are. I brought up, hey, the election's coming up, and I'm like, man, I was telling these people, heavy is the head that wears the crown. And I just was looking on my phone and I saw ESPN article. One of the NFL football coaches had to move his house because people found out where he lived. And they were pranking him and doing dumb stuff to him and all this other stuff. Like, yeah, sounds good to be the head coach of this big NFL team until you see what drama and stuff they got to deal with. That's what nobody realizes. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. And so I look at, hey, whether it's Trump or Obama or whoever or Kamala or whoever, it doesn't matter. But right now they was trying to kill Trump. And whoever gets in next, somebody going to try to kill them. But, man, I'm like, man, this dude can't even go golf when they're trying to kill him. So I know, one of the ways I've inspired myself is like, man, if this dude is in his 70s and people trying to kill him and he could just keep plugging away. I'm from Youngstown, Ohio. For those of you that don't know where that is, like we have a pride in ourselves coming from there that, it's a great place with great people and hard nose and blue collar and been through a lot. But man, I almost feel like if you got the right mindset, there's good and bad in everything. They say if you could make it in New York, if you make it here, you can make it anywhere. I feel like in Youngstown, if you could make it there, you can make it anywhere. And so I'm like, man, there's no way this guy, went to the Wharton School of Business and he could go through all this adversity and be cool. And you can't go through some adversity coming from the yo. Like, that's my pep talk. Okay? So you got to look at other people that have it worse or have had it worse and remind yourself that you're just as strong as they are, if not stronger. And so stop looking at and getting the poor me's of how bad it is or how stressed you are. Find some people. Don't look at how many people you got it worse than. Because although that may be true, yeah, you don't understand. No, I can't catch a break. And this happens to me, and this happens to me, and this happens to me. And you might be right, and that does suck, and it's unfair, and that sucks for you. And that ain't right. I feel bad on earth that these things happen. We ain't in heaven. But we got to look at it doesn't serve you. Whether it's true or not, don't serve you. We're talking about helping you get through the situation. And what'll help you is looking at, but how many people have it worse than you? What could have been worse than that? How many people did you see go through something worse and they made it? Well, that's what you need right now to remind yourself that you will make it and you can get through it too. Most of it is all perspective. Let the chips fall where they may. Control what you can control. Give it to God. Take care of yourself. And let's grow through it, not just go through it together. Speaking of going through it together, we're going through this GRINDcast together. And the only thing that I'm asking for you is if this adds value to your life, can you share this with other people? Get other people, pass the word around about the GRINDcast so we can help other people. And what I've been liking is some of you that been shouting me out on social media, share the thing with me and tag me in it and let me know that you're listening. All right. Hey, I hope you all have a great week. Thanks for joining us here on another episode of the GRINDcast. Get ready. It's a new day.